like people are actually gonna go apeshit? Yes. It is really fucking bad. It is really, 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 really fucking bad. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just get started on it. So listen, I'm just gonna fucking give you guys like the brief update. But in Brooklyn Center, the police fatally shot someone who's 20 years old. Okay, and this is happening. This happened during. I mean, while the Derek Chauvin trial is still ongoing. Now, Brooklyn Center is in Minneapolis, right? If I'm not mistaken, this is like very, very close to where the George Floyd murder took place. And police very quickly reached out, or police very quickly went. It was like 10 minutes north. Yeah, it's a suburb. It's like one town over. So basically, what ended up happening is there was a police stop, from what I understand, where Daunte Wright, who's 20 years old and black, was at a police stop. He gets shot at the stop. Okay, at a traffic stop. He gets shot at the traffic stop. He drives away and he dies while in the process of driving away. And his girlfriend's in the car. His mother literally fucking calls ahead of time. You are saying he's wrong. It's Daunte. Oh, it's Daunte, and you misspelled it in your tweet. Okay, chill the fuck out. Okay, I'm sorry. Just calm down. Okay. Daunte Wright. Jesus Christ. Okay. Daunte Wright is 20 years old. He gets I mean, I'm dyslexic as fuck. Just calm down, okay? It's very difficult for me to write American words. In the instance of a fucking police brutality, if your hyper focuses on me saying the name wrong, or saying or spelling it incorrectly, me as a specific, like, not like a fucking major news organization, but me as a fucking Turkish motherfucker that you already know, then you literally are not even remotely interested in like tackling structural racism, and instead are hyper focusing on the aesthetics and just showing that one more time. The ESL excuse. I'm sorry, motherfucker. I'm sorry that I didn't fucking grow up here and I had to learn English. If you can speak another fucking language, then you can talk to me, okay? Suck my dick. Yeah, I'm part of the fucking problem. I know. You, a person, are not allowed to mistakes. Only corporations are allowed. No, the problem is, like, if it's fucking ABC doing it, they have fucking fact checkers, okay? Like, they literally have fact checkers. It still stems from a place of white supremacy where people just like don't know or didn't bother to check. Even then, though, it's not the fucking worst part, okay, of this entire process. Okay. Yeah. Apologies for misspelling. Daunte's name. It's Daunte Wright. Motherfuckers be like, 5 WPM, 5 WPM. But then, like, the moment I fucking misspell something, they're like, oh, dude, this must mean that you're a fucking racist. Suck my dick, okay? You're making this bigger than it is. Someone just corrected you. No, someone else already fucking said, no, there's literally fucking people replying saying, it's Daunte, not Duante. Get the name straight before you go out calling for justice. Like, no, it's like, this is the classic fucking Twitter bullshit. Like, it's literally just immediately fucking classic Twitter bullshit. Okay. And it's not one person. There's a bunch of people, because This is like the hyper focus is on aesthetics. ABC probably actually fucking spelt it right.
Protests on the streets of suburban.
Okay. No, I'm a fucking racist. I'm a white supremacist. I don't give a shit if you think that, okay? Like, literally, I don't give a shit. Just leave and go find a non-racist person to listen to on issues of police brutality. Anyway, as a white supremacist, I'll continue on with the story. Okay, so there were immediately fucking protests that erupted into more aggressive protests that turned into some would consider riots, okay? Which is, again, completely understandable considering the fact that this literally happened 10 minutes away from the original George Floyd murder, while the literal George Floyd murder trial is still happening, with Derek Chauvin and his defense attorneys actively vilifying a victim every single fucking day in a court of law, trying to get a murderous police officer off on murder. Okay? So let's take a look at what. So immediately, once these protests started, and because of the volatility of the event itself, obviously, cops were very quick, like surprisingly quick, not usual for situations like this, to immediately say, "This is the body camera footage." And from what I understand, literally while I was waiting for more information to come out, they already came out and talked about, in the last like half hour before I started streaming while I was showering, that the officer accidentally discharged their lethal weapon, thinking that it was their taser, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to take a look at that in a second. It's a terrible fucking, terrible defense. Absolutely disgusting. And another person has been murdered. And their parent, their mother, Daunte's mother, was on the phone, from what I understand, in his final moments, as his girlfriend was informing her of what was going on.
With the protests erupting once again on the streets of Minnesota, this time in a Minneapolis suburb, after a fatal police shooting. 20-year-old Daunte Wright killed during a traffic stop, and overnight, police in body armor using gas and flashbang grenades to clear crowds. All this occurring not far from where former officer Derek Chauvin is on trial, charged with murdering George Floyd. Alex Perez is there with the very latest. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Michael. The trial of Derek Chauvin continues here at the courthouse later this morning. Now, tensions were already high in the area, but this latest police shooting has escalated that, many taking to the streets in protest.
Oh my God.
For the record, a taser weighs about 8 ounces, okay? It's much shorter, much smaller, whereas a Glock, especially a fully loaded Glock, it weighs around 31.39 ounces. There's the bright yellow on a taser. This is what a fucking taser looks like. I don't know what a police-issued taser might look like. This is a civilian one, I believe, that I'm looking at. I think a police-issued taser is actually even more yellow than a regular taser, specifically because, like, they want to showcase that it's not a lethal weapon. It's the less than lethal weapon. You know what I mean? So I'm just going through this and doing my due diligence at the very least. The taser weight is 8 ounces, as I mentioned already. A fully loaded Glock, on the other hand, is 31.39 ounces. I don't think they're even on the same side of your utility belt, specifically so that you literally don't pull it out on accident.
Overnight, protests erupted in Brooklyn Center, a suburb of Minneapolis, after a fatal police shooting of a black man during a traffic stop. The Minnesota National Guard deployed. Daunte Wright! Daunte Wright! Police deploying tear gas to clear the crowds.
Oh, more more flashbang grenades.
The incident beginning just before 2 p.m. on Sunday when officers pulled a car over for a traffic violation. According to the Brooklyn Center Police Department, the driver, who had an outstanding warrant, tried to get back in the vehicle while officers were making an arrest. An officer then shot the driver, the car driving for several blocks before crashing into another vehicle. Police say paramedics attempted life-saving measures, but the driver was pronounced dead at the scene. Governor Tim Walz tweeting, "Our state mourns another life of a black man taken by law enforcement." Tensions very quickly rising. Before nightfall, protesters carrying Black Lives Matter signs seen here clashing with police. Protesters also seen.
So here's the thing. When this happens, understandably, people that have been pushed to literally the last, like, their last stand, their final stand in this circumstance where they're looking for any amount of justice to be served. When this sort of thing happens and you immediately see retaliation from the police, from the people in that vicinity, in that region, protesting police brutality, and you rush to go, oh my God, I can't believe that fucking cop cars are being attacked. If that's your go-to, if that's your main focus, then it honestly seems like you just don't give a shit about justice at all, and more so are looking for any excuse to vilify people protesting police brutality. They're not going to protest in the way that you expect them to, especially considering that this is an ongoing issue that has not been fucking resolved at all, and rarely does justice ever get served, okay?
Jumping on cars, even using cinder blocks to smash windows on a police vehicle. Katie Wright, the mother of the driver who
He had a warrant out for his arrest while police are trying to cuff him. He tries to jump back in his car. You don't know what someone is doing when they jump in that car. It's a split-second decision made in a stressful scenario. 99.999% of people will never understand. What's a good thing you're probably in the 99.999% of people as well, especially considering the fact that the police are literally looking to make an argument as to why they thought it was a fucking non-lethal weapon and it was an accidental discharge. So here's the thing I don't understand. Do you work for the Fraternal Order of Police or something? Do you work for the fucking police unions? Why are you doing PR and also legal defense for free for police officers that themselves are not even fucking rushing to defend in this way? And even then, if that happened, okay, does he deserve to fucking die? Absolutely not. This notion that like all of this warrants an execution in a country where we're supposed to have due process, but instead routinely cops will be the judge, jury, and executioner in any given legal circumstance is fucking psychotic to me, okay? Go live in Saudi Arabia, motherfucker, if that's what you want. I'm sorry, dude. Seriously. That is straight up un-American. That is not what America is supposed to be about, okay? That is not what America is supposed to be about. You cannot fucking advocate for a cop to literally fucking play judge, jury, executioner in these sort of circumstances and then simultaneously talk about how patriotic you are, okay? In theory, that is not what America is about. In practice, that is exceptionally what America is about, specifically as it pertains to marginalized communities being on the other receiving end of the barrel of the gun. Of course. However, like I said, it is not what America is supposed to be about in theory, so shut the fuck up.
who was shot identified her son as 20-year-old Daunte Wright. His family telling ABC News that he was a good kid and loved being a father to his son Daunte Jr., seen in this photo being held by Wright's brother at the protest.
He called me at about 1:40, said he was getting pulled over by the police. And I said, well, why did you get pulled over? He said they pulled him over because he had air fresheners hanging from the rearview mirror. I don't want everybody out here chanting and screaming and yelling. I just want him home. That's it.
And authorities are investigating this latest shooting and say the police officers involved do wear body cams. Michael?
All right.
So, yeah, they were very quick. Yeah, he had a son. Yes. 20-year-old, had a son, fucking dead now.
Alex, all of this is going on just 10 miles from where George Floyd died. And the trial of former officer Derek Chauvin resumed this morning. What are jurors going to hear this morning?
For the record, when you see a black person and you see, oh, he had an arrest warrant, I need you to understand, like, that shit literally could be for a misdemeanor traffic violation, okay? That could be for a moving violation that you forgot to pay your fine on. I'm just letting you know this is how some of those circumstances are like. Okay, you could have a misdemeanor moving violation that goes unaddressed or unresolved, and all of a sudden you didn't know that you had to go to a fucking court and get it handled with. You didn't know you had to go to fucking traffic court or some shit. So your immediate jump to the conclusion that like, oh, this person had a fucking arrest warrant, so he needs to be executed, is psychotic. And that's a lot of the motivating reasons for why cops behave the way that they do, because they know that a majority of people, the Back to Blue crowd specifically, immediately assume like, oh, he has an arrest warrant, like black person, arrest warrant, fucking criminal thug, execution warranted, obviously, duh. Warrants are super fucking common, okay? You motherfuckers might have an arrest warrant right now. You literally might have a warrant out right now without even knowing that you have one out. For the reasons that I just mentioned, it could literally be a fucking unpaid fine that you didn't realize. You should not be executed for this. You should not be executed in any of these circumstances, regardless. Like,
Yeah, Michael, the trial resumes here later this morning. Prosecutors are expected to call George Floyd's brothers to testify about the kind of person he was. Prosecutors could very soon rest their case. Michael?
All right, Alex.
here's the warrant. Is this real? The warrant on Daunte Wright was unpaid fines for 2 minor misdemeanors, 1 a marijuana case totaling 346. He pled guilty, filed for deferred payment, and they were sent to a collections during a pandemic, and then he was pulled over in a car for air fresheners and killed over it. Wait, hold on. I don't know who this is. I'm sorry. I don't know. This is not verified information yet. Okay, that's not fucking verified information. We don't know. That could be the case, but I do not know yet. Sorry. I should not have shown you that. It goes along with what my suspicion is, that you can, or what I've just basically told you, is that you can literally fucking get an outstanding warrant for petty crime and petty misdemeanors and shit like that. So. We'll get into it after, because I know that there's going to be more information coming down on this issue. But there's another story with a Afro-Latino Army officer, Army lieutenant, who had a gun pulled on him and pepper sprayed in a traffic stop. This happened last year, but the video actually resurfaced this year and went viral. And he's suing the cops. The cops immediately were fired once the video went viral. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, though. Before we're just going to before we do that, I'm going to continue on with this story, because I want to see. So the Brooklyn Center Police Chief says a cop shot and killed Daunte Wright by accident. Says this is an accidental discharge that resulted in the tragic death of Mr. Wright. Here's the full testimony.
As you can hear, the officer, while struggling with Mr. Wright, shouts "Taser, taser" several times. That is part of the officer's training prior to deploying a taser, which is a less lethal device. That is done to make her partners aware, as well as the subject, that a taser deployment will be imminent. During this encounter, however, the officer drew their handgun instead of their taser. For informational purposes, we train with our handguns on our dominant side and our taser on our weak side. So if you're right-handed, I'm going
to play that again.
The officer drew their handgun instead of their taser. For informational purposes, we train with our handguns on our dominant side and our taser on our weak side. So if you're right-handed, you carry your firearm on your right side and you carry your taser on the left. This is done purposefully and is trained. As I watch the video and listen to the officer's commands, it is my belief that the officer had the intention to deploy their taser, but instead shot Mr. Wright with a single bullet. This appears to me, from what I viewed and the officer's reaction and distress immediately after, that this was an accidental discharge that resulted in the tragic death of Mr. Wright.
Okay. So either the cop is so damn incompetent to know which side is his weak side, or it was intentional. Okay. It literally doesn't matter. I mean, one is like gross negligence and should be a criminal fucking offense, especially if you're a cop. Like, because here's the reality, okay? Even if you are to believe what he is saying, even if you are to believe what he's saying, this should, which many people understandably do not believe what he's saying, because one, a taser weighs, as I mentioned already, 8 ounces. Okay, a fully loaded Glock, which is what police officers use in the United States, is 33 ounces. So a fully loaded Glock is going to be, 31.39 ounces. So there is a gigantic weight difference between a fucking taser. A taser also oftentimes is yellow to imply that it's less than lethal. Okay? So it's fucking 4 times the weight. Like, maybe in the situation you were really, really, really fucking stressed out and really scared, and you pulled out your Glock and you thought it was your fucking taser and you shot someone. Even if it's a fucking taser, ridiculous that like your immediate go-to is just to fucking tase someone for getting back in their fucking car. Okay? So he took off the safety. It's a Glock, chat. I don't think that Glocks have safeties like that. I think it's a trigger safety, if I'm not mistaken. So for people who are saying it's a safety, it's a Glock. Glocks don't have safety. Learn your fucking guns. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay? Don't come at me with fucking gun knowledge, bitch. Anyway, there's a body cam footage of this entire thing regardless. So there is like there will be retribution. Okay? There will be retribution in this situation. I know that in the body cam footage, yes, in the body cam footage, like she yells taser as the fucking police chief just mentioned, and then goes, oh shit, I shot him, not realizing that I'm not gonna play it right now, but okay, every time shit like this happens with trigger happy cops who assume the absolute worst from every single interaction, I wonder, how does this shit not happen in other countries like in Europe? Why is it so American? In every regard. It's just, okay, look, let's just keep going. Speaking of which, this ties back into the Derek Chauvin case as well, by the way, because the Chauvin trial judge denies a request for jury sequestration after the police shooting because the defense attorneys for Derek Chauvin literally said, well, this will taint the fucking jury's opinion. Because unfortunately, in the United States of America, police brutality is so fucking common that, hey, it happened again literally 10 minutes away from the other fucking murder that we are having a current trial for. So the jury can't make a fucking, regular defense here. The jury is not going to be able to, stop themselves from being tainted with other influence of a yet another fucking instance of police murder, police murdering a black kid. Okay. So, the Chauvin trial judge denied the request for the jury sequestration after the police shooting, but they still tried. That didn't stop them from trying to use this as an opportunity to fucking sequester the jury. So, here it is. Let's hear what.
This is clearly racial profiling that happened in this situation. We are standing in solidarity and calling for the firing of this officer. You have talked about her having due process, although Daunte Wright did not get due process in that situation. She needs to be fired immediately to send a message that this type of behavior will not be condoned within the city of Brooklyn Center.
Thank you. I appreciate those comments.
This is clearly racial profiling that happened in this situation. We are standing in solidarity and calling for the firing of this officer. You have talked about her having due process, although Daunte Wright did not get due process.
It's ridiculous. The Brooklyn Center chief police abruptly leaves in the middle of the Daunte Wright news conference, leaving the mayor and city manager to answer the questions.
Delay in getting tabs and things of this nature from the DMV. So even people who have purchased tabs are unable to get them because there's a 2 to 3 month backlog. Are you aware of that? And is your staff also aware of that? And have you made any type of recommendations to your staff to be mindful that we're in the middle of a pandemic and don't pull people over for tabs, particularly because there is a significant delay in getting those tabs from the Department of Motor Vehicles. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of
Chief
that.
Police.
I am aware of that.
Is your staff aware of that?
Yes, they are.
Chief.
That was the last question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor. Questions are done.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask you, in that video, the female officer clearly made a fatal mistake. She did
Significant.
It does not matter what color Daunte Wright's skin was. She intended to tase a suspect and end up fatally shooting someone. She can't continue to be a cop. 100%. 100% in agreement there. I think most cops should not fucking be cops. Let's be real. Because of the way that the training works in this country, because of the way the police culture works in this country, most cops that have fucking been tainted by the way that policing operates in the country so far literally are incapable of fucking continuing to be cops because of that. They're just, it's broken. They're broken completely. It's just, it doesn't matter if the victim is black or white. It literally, they're just, like, it cannot continue. On the top, that cop got fired. Same shit happened here with that big group of people who were corralled and tear gas in an alley. Body cam footage from that day was held up in courts by cop lawyers for months. The day that the footage came out, they disciplined a bunch of cops for what they did and said that they only now know that the footage was public. Oh, yeah. Anyway. Why is the U.S. police so poorly trained? It's Brooklyn Center police are currently flying a blue line flag outside of the station right now. Oh, nice, dude. I don't know if this is real or not. Hold on. Oh, never mind. This is a Star Tribune journalist. Yeah, bro, just burn a cross, brother. Just literally burn a cross, brother. Just straight up, bro. I mean, look, if the biggest fucking victim in your minds in a circumstance where a fucking senior officer executes a 20-year-old black man, okay, in a fucking regular traffic stop, okay, where the person potentially has a warrant for a misdemeanor offense, allegedly, and your big fucking problem in that situation, while there's also simultaneously an ongoing fucking police execution trial going on, your big fucking honoring the victim's moment is literally the cop who might fucking lose their job, then you're a gigantic piece of shit. The entire fucking department is bullshit. Just carve it out and replace. It's wild. Like, it's wild. You're basically saying, I don't give a fuck about the person that died. I just do not give a fuck about the person that died. I only care about the cop that might fucking get a slap on the wrist. Maybe.
It's my belief that the officer had the intention to deploy their taser, but instead shot Mr. Wright with a single bullet. This appears to me, from what I've viewed and the officer's reaction and distress immediately after, that this was an accidental discharge that resulted in the tragic death of Mr. Wright. I have asked the BCA to conduct an independent investigation into the shooting and death. Once they are completed, I expect they will submit their findings, independent of me, to the appropriate authorities, the appropriate attorneys that will look and review this case. I'm also stressing that I do hope for the community to be patient and allow this criminal investigation, to be completed as thoroughly as possible. I believe Mr. Wright deserves this, as do all involved. The officer is currently on administrative leave. Make a short comment about...
If you just listen to the officer, he wouldn't have died. Dude, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up, dude. Seriously. Like, you are such subhuman filth. It is mind-boggling to me, okay? Like, it is... You are literally subhuman filth. You have no fucking respect for the sanctity of human life. You will never understand why you're wrong. You are just a vile scumbag. Seriously. Like, oh, you didn't listen to me, so now you get murdered is not a fucking thing that happens, okay? It's not a thing. Just get that out of your fucking brain, okay? Get that out of your fucking brain. Please. Seriously, erase the part of your fucking brain, maybe with a lobotomy, where it says that you can actually fucking murder someone for not listening to your demands. if you believe in due process, if you love the concept of America, if you're truly a patriot and you believe the theory that everyone should get their fucking day in court, then you can never, ever have that take. Okay? You can never have that take. If that's your point of view, then leave America. Go somewhere else where cops can play judge, jury, executioner and get away with it. Do you have an actual answer to that? Yes, I do. That's my answer. A police officer does not or should not have the right to play judge, jury, executioner in any of these circumstances. Okay? They can't. You can't do that. It's fucking ridiculous. And you are basically fucking defending that system.
What happened last night to our community, a community that I've been a part of for 27 years. I've seen some of the worst damage to this city I've ever seen in those years. Again, peaceful protesting, expressing yourself, we fully support that. But the ravaging of our businesses, the looting of our stores, the destruction to our pharmacies, we cannot tolerate that.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, bitch. Okay. What if the suspect hurted an innocent person while running from the cop? Brother, that's not what happened, okay? And that's the innocent person that was executed was the fucking person. So what are you talking about? What if a hypothetical? Like, what if in a hypothetical? Okay, what if he had a fucking nuke strapped to his chest, dog? What then? You know? Let's just go after all these other fucking different hypotheticals in this situation. Bro, what if the fucking suspect literally had a nuke strapped to his fucking chest, and the only way to deactivate the nuke is by executing him? I mean, what if then? I mean, would you say that fucking in this entirely different situation, would you say that it was acceptable to kill the guy? Checkmate, liberal. Okay, dude. You got it. And yeah, now police are in riot gear staged at the Brooklyn Center in Minneapolis or Minnesota. I like this notion that, like, you know, police don't just have presence that is supposed to maintain like this notion of law and order, but now they are literally fucking stopping crimes, which is not even true for the most part. But they're also preventing further crime from happening while, you know, doing the criminal activities themselves, which is like murder. Okay. Like you went from like assuming that cops do something that they usually don't to literally retroactively justifying murder. Okay. You were here, you took something that was up here and you fucking pulled it down to an entirely different place to just defend something that even the police department itself is not defending right now, and have admitted that they fucked up. Just remember that. If you find yourself in a position where you are literally fucking defending police murder when the fucking cops themselves are not defending it, just try to figure out why you are this cucked to the American police state. Can't defend the Capitol. Now they are in riot gear again. Yeah. It is mind-boggling to me that fucking regular traffic stops are handled by fully kitted out Gestapo fucks, okay? I'm sorry. That should not happen, okay? The meter maids that don't have fucking weapons should be doing regular traffic stops. It is wild to me that someone needs a fucking AR-15 for a traffic stop, okay? It's wild. It's ridiculous. It's wild to me that in no pixel Grand Theft Auto roleplay, the fucking operating procedure, the SOP that's written by an actual fucking cop, by the way, literally a real cop wrote the fucking SOP for the police departments in a fucking roleplay server. And even there, they have stricter protocols of using non-lethal versus lethal weapons versus class 2 AR-15 weapons. It's fucking insane, dude. Like, it's literally roleplay. Roleplay world has stricter fucking rules of engagement than the United States of America. God damn it, dude. I'm a Harley service consultant in the local motorcycle clubs of AR-15s in their saddlebags. Good. Great. Anyway, the governor is live right now.
So some of the things that we can do. And
while we're gonna tune into the governor for a second, but before I do that, obviously I gotta run a fucking ad break here. It's top of the hour. It's the first ad break of the day that I gotta run. If you no longer want to see the ad breaks, if you no longer want to see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Well, it's harder to get a gun in Grand Theft Auto 5 than in America. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I imagine it's because dying in NP versus IRL are radically different. I agree with your sentiment, though. Yeah, dying in NP is fucking way more common. And even then, they have stronger fucking rules of engagement. So, yeah. Anyway, here's the fucking ad break now.
Or destruction to property or to put people at risk, it will not be tolerated. And we have known for many months that as this trial and the focus of this nation was on this trial, that there would be those that want to do both. Those that want to bring about change, those that want to express their constitutional rights, those that are angry, heartbroken, sad, fed up, tired, all of the things that they have every reason to feel. But we also know, and we saw it again last night, those that would try and take advantage of this to create chaos or damage will not be tolerated. And the folks you're going to hear from after the mayors speak are our public safety professionals. And that will include everybody from the State Patrol to our local police departments, to our county sheriffs, to our National Guard, and in this organization, to community leaders and to sociologists and psychologists and people who are out there to understand that there's trauma in the community. And simply sometimes having uniformed officers is enough to trigger people and to cause situations to escalate. And those things have been given consideration. So while I can't provide any comfort to the Wright family, what I can tell this state and this nation is Minnesota's a place where we know that you can create space for grievances to be aired and First Amendment rights to be expressed, and you can stop people from creating crimes or doing destruction to property and to people. And the next thing that we can do is we can stop pretending that this is just the natural order of the universe and things happen this way. I'm going to demand that the legislature finally hold some hearings on some of these reforms, as I said, that have passed in other states and have proven to make a difference. Things that are supported by both law enforcement and community members. Things that we know that would reduce the chance of a routine traffic stop escalating into a loss of life. There are things that can be done. There are proposals that are out there. There's proven remedies that can be put into place. But that will never happen if we don't at least hold hearings on these things. If we don't at least get ourselves into an uncomfortable position and do what this democracy is supposed to do and debate the hard things. So I'm calling on the legislature, and I will be calling them later. If we have time to talk about other things, you can certainly find time on your calendar to put things in place that make sure we don't have another Daunte Wright laying on the streets of Brooklyn Center or any community in this state or this country. So those are things that we can do. Those are things that shouldn't be asking that much. Those are things that our communities demand of us. And I can tell you that angst and that trauma that people feel is exacerbated if they feel no one's listening or there's no place to express it. So our commitment with this...
Like, people that say... Sorry, I'm going to pause this fucking live stream for a second. But people that say, oh, Daunte Wright would be alive if he followed cops' orders, literally refuse that interaction was completely unwarranted. They refuse to recognize that Daunte Wright would be alive if fucking police officers did their fucking goddamn jobs correctly and didn't mistake a fucking Glock that weighs 32 pounds or 32 ounces for a taser, he'd be alive right now, more importantly, if he wasn't fucking pulled over for having air fresheners in his car, okay? He'd be alive right now if misdemeanor felonies or misdemeanor offenses did not warrant an insane fucking arrest warrant because you tried to get a deferral on your payment for some kind of fucking charge that you got in the middle of goddamn COVID, okay? There are so many different structural problems that you should be pointing to before you say, why don't you just literally fucking stop everything and obey when cops stop you and fucking scare the shit out of you with like actual guns while there's literally an ongoing fucking police brutality case going on in a court that's like 30 minutes away from where you live, because 10 minutes away from where you got shot last night and murdered, someone else was executed in broad daylight, and motherfuckers are still arguing on whether or not that was murder.
Amongst law enforcement agency and community, never before seen in Minnesota. But I'm telling you, and you saw it yesterday, until we make the proactive change to do the things to prevent it, continuing to stand up organizations like we've done here to put out the fire after it's been lit will simply not work. So
you just can't gloss over resisting arrest. I'm not glossing over it. I'm saying that it should not have even happened. There should be no resisting arrest. And resisting arrest does not warrant execution, no matter what. I'm not glossing over it. You're just refusing to recognize what I'm saying. Listen to the words that come out of my mouth. Refusing arrest in that situation does not warrant an execution, okay? Resisting arrest in that instance does not warrant an execution. Listen to what I am saying. There are very few circumstances in which a police officer should be able to pull out their gun and fucking shoot, okay? This does not meet that metric in any meaningful capacity, okay? The only time a cop should be escalating to violent force is literally if the other person has a fucking gun and has shot it, or you are super clear that they're going to shoot it at you or someone else. That's it.
Have not. We have such a long way to go, and the cruel duality of mourning yet another officer-involved shooting, while we're simultaneously adjudicating at a trial yet another officer-involved killing, is cruel. It is just that, it is cruel. And what appears to be a careless and tragic mistake in a profession where you just can't make careless and tragic mistakes has not only further eroded trust between law enforcement and the communities that they serve, that they are charged with serving, but has been even more injurious to our communities of color, to our BIPOC communities in Minneapolis. And I recognize that the press conference that we saw earlier in Brooklyn Center is unthinkably disturbing. We recognize that the feeling and the sentiment in our city and in our region right now, especially for our Black and brown communities, is raw. And the anguish that we saw and witnessed that was captured in Kate.
Okay, I don't care about this. All right. Let's just continue with this.